Hello students, this is Supreme. You are watching YouTube channel Project JEE. So guys, in the last session, we were discussing about the organic chemistry lecture 1, where we discussed basic concepts regarding organic chemistry and the carbon compounds. So in this session, we are going to continue those topics. In the first 5 to 10 minutes, we will recap them because they are most important basic concepts. So without them we can't go further topics. So we can recap them in the first 5 minutes, and after 5 minutes we will go to the further topics. So without any wasting any time, let's start our session 2 of organic chemistry. So guys, in the last session we were discussed about the why carbon treated as a special element. So in the first discussion of the last session, we discussed 4 main differences with carbon and other elements. Due to those 4 reasons, the carbon is treated as the special element when compared to all the other elements. So why carbon a special element? Because in all the organic compounds, the carbon is must and should. The carbon compounds are organic compounds with hydrocarbons. We also discussed about the hydrocarbons. So we also discussed about the types of hydrocarbons, where hydrocarbons are classified into main 3: alkanes, alkenes and alkynes. So we have discussed some examples of alkanes, alkenes and alkynes, root words. So we will discuss them later briefly in the naming of organic compounds, which is IUPAC nomenclature. So we will get that in the lecture 4 or 3, mostly lecture 3. And now let's discuss another one, which is the classification of the carbon. Classification of carbon. So where carbon is mainly divided into 1, 2, 3, 4, which is primary carbon. Primary is also treated as 1 degree carbon, 2 degree carbon, 3 degree carbon, 4 degree carbon. 1 degree is primary, 2 degree is secondary, tertiary and quaternary or neocarbon. So here primary carbon, where the carbon is attached to only one carbon. For example, CH3 in all the organic compounds is primary carbon for sure, because CH3 is only attached to other carbon like CH2, CH3. In this compound, only 2 1 degree carbons are there, but this is a 2 degree carbon here, because this carbon is attached to 2 other carbons, which is 1 and 2 other carbons. So this is treated as a 2 degree carbon, and these 2 are treated as 1 degree carbon. So I hope you understand the difference between 1 degree, 2 degree and 3 degree means a carbon attached to 3 other carbons, and 4 degree means carbon attached to 4 other carbons. So I hope you understood the differences and how the carbon is classified into primary, secondary, tertiary and quaternary carbons. So let's discuss how the hydrogens are classified along with the carbons. Hydrogens. I am just recapping the last session. In the last session we have discussed them briefly. If you didn't watch it, go and watch it first and then come to this video, because if you watch this video first, you can't understand the further topics. These are very easy compounds and basic concepts. So first recapping must be done before going to the further concepts. That's why I am recapping the topics. Hydrogens also similarly classified into 4 types, which is primary hydrogen, secondary hydrogen, tertiary hydrogen and quaternary hydrogen. So first of all, what is primary? 1 degree hydrogen, which is the hydrogen which is attached to the primary carbon is known as primary hydrogen. The hydrogen which is attached to the secondary carbon, which is attached to the 2 carbons, so then the hydrogen is said as the secondary hydrogen. So the hydrogen, similarly the hydrogen which is bonded to a tertiary carbon, then that hydrogen is known as tertiary hydrogen. If the hydrogen, there is no existence of neohydrogen. This is the special point here. Quaternary or neo. Quaternary or neo basically indicates 4 degree here. But there is existence of 4 degree carbon because carbon valency is 4. It can bond to 4 other carbons directly. But there is no existence of quaternary hydrogen or neohydrogen, because if a carbon, 4 degree carbon is bonded to 4 other carbons, then there is no space available to bond it to hydrogen. That's why there is no existence of quaternary or neohydrogen. So this is the main point of the classification of hydrogens. This must be noted. If possible, take a screenshot or else write along with me, then we must be in the simultaneous manner. So okay, I hope you took the screenshot, and next we will continue to the further topics. So here next in the previous discussion we discussed about the classification of carbon and hydrogen and their types. For by now, let's go to the alkanes and the alkynes concept. So in the previous session we discussed these with specific examples also. So alkanes, first one is methane, ethene. There is no existence of methane here. Ethene and ethane. So ethane, propene, propyne. So this continues till up to so many carbons. So what is the formula of methane? CH4 is the formula of methane. So I forgot to say one common point here in the previous session, that is the general formula, common formula of alkanes. Common formula of alkanes is CnH2n plus 2. So this is the main common formula. For example, if we take where n belongs to integers, so for suppose if n is equal to 1, then C1H2 into 1 plus 2, which is CH4. We got methane. So if we take carbon 1, then we attach 4 hydrogens and we got methane here. If you take N as 2, then C2 plus H6, C2H6. C2H6 is none other than ethane, C2H6. So in this way, we can create as many as compounds of carbon where all are alkanes. So this is the main basic formula. And going to alkenes, general formula of alkenes is CnH2n plus 2, CnH2n plus 0, because we reduced 2 hydrogens here by comparing to the alkanes. And the general formula of alkynes here, which is CnH2n minus 2. If you observe these formulas clearly, then the difference between these 3 formulas is 2 hydrogens. Here there are 2n plus 2 hydrogens, there are 2n hydrogens. Difference is 2 hydrogens. So here there are 2n hydrogens, and here they became 2n minus 2 hydrogens. 2n minus 2. We decreased 2 hydrogens by alkenes to alkynes. So there is a 2 hydrogen difference in the formulas and in the structures also. So note it. It is the important topic here, which is related to the general, all the 3 types of hydrocarbons. So guys, here we have completed the recap of organic compounds lecture 1. So now let's discuss the further concepts where we will be discussing about the classification of organic compounds. The classification of organic compounds. So how the classification of organic compounds was done? So into two different types. I know the first one is the acyclic compounds. The second one is cyclic compounds. So you may have heard this type of classification of carbon compounds, where acyclic is also called as open chain carbons, open chain or straight. So the cyclic compounds are also called as the closed chain compounds, closed or ring compounds. They are also called as ring compounds. So how the difference between these two happens? Because the acyclic structures contains only the straight line compounds. This carbon will not be attached to this carbon again. So but in the cyclic carbon compounds, the mainly ring compounds are to be seen. So one carbon is attached to two different carbons here. Both there is a cyclic ring type structure formed by these three carbons. If that same compound is discussed in the acyclic, then that structure would be like this. This is a non-closed compound and this is a closed chain compound. So I hope you understood the difference, the main mechanism how the classification of organic compounds was done to two different classifications, which is acyclic and cyclic. The different types of names are also given here. You are supposed to note this, and after let's discuss some classifications in the acyclic and cyclic compounds. So note it. Okay, now let's go to acyclic compound classification, and both at the same time let's also discuss the cyclic compounds classification. First of all, the acyclic compounds or open chain compounds are further classified into two types. Which are the first one, saturated, and the second one is unsaturated. Okay, unsaturated. What are saturated and unsaturated carbon compounds? So saturated hydrocarbon compounds, which is organic compounds, contains only a single bond or only sigma bond. Only is most important here, because some compounds contain sigma bonds along with the pi bond, which is double or triple bond. They are classified into unsaturated. They can be sigma plus 1 pi or sigma plus 2 pi. Only sigma containing bonds are classified into the saturated compound classification, and the unsaturated classification mainly contains of the compounds with a double bond and or at least one triple bond, at least one double bond or at least one triple bond. If a structure contains at least one double bond, then it is considered as unsaturated cyclic or open chain compounds. So at the same time, the cyclic are also classified into two types, which is the first one is the homocyclic compounds, and homocyclic along with heterocyclic. So here, what is the difference between homo and heterocyclic compounds? Homocyclic compounds contains only one ring. For suppose if you take an example of benzene, there is only one ring here. So heterocyclic compounds contains two rings, two different rings. So this is one ring and this is one ring. Both are combined with the bonds. So this is a heterocyclic compound. So this is the homocyclic compound because this contains only one ring. Only one ring, which is a hexagonal compound, which is also called as benzene. Homocyclic and heterocyclic. So these are the main further classifications of the open chain compounds and closed chain compounds. So the saturated and unsaturated are also classified, further classified. They are not further classified because there is no possibility to further classify these saturated and unsaturated. But there is a possibility to classify these two remaining further classification also done, which is the aliphatic and aromatic in homocyclic, and heterocyclic is aromatic and non-aromatic. So we will discuss later what is aromatism, and for now note this total table. This is most important here in the basics of GOC. So if we note this, next we will continue the definitions of open and unsaturated. Okay, I will give you the PDF in the link in the description. So check that from the description box. And now let's go to the further concepts. So now let's go to the further discussion, which is homologous series. Homologous series. What are homologous series? So firstly, homologous series are the series where the each term will be differed by the CH2 term with the next term, which means if a compound like CH2 is there, then the next term in the homologous series is CH2 plus CH2, which is C2H4. If C2H4 is taken as the first term, then the next term in the homologous series is C3H6. CH2, C2H4, C3H6. It continues to the infinite number of terms of the carbon. Then how we can remember this series? How we can remember this series? By the general formula of homologous series. So by seeing these compounds 1, 2 and 3, we can assume and we can imagine the general formula of this homologous series, which is CH2 whole taken as N. If we place 1 in the place of N, then the first term will be CH2. If we want second term, then place N as 2. Then CH2 into CH2, which is C2H4. Then if you want third term, substitute 3 in the N place. So this is the general formula of homologous series. So all the homologous compounds contains same general formula. This has to be noted, and I hope I also provided the concept of homologous series in the previous organic compound session, which is lecture 1, and I am repeating this because the order of continuation must not be disturbed by the previous discussions. So I am repeating this, and in the recap of this session also I am not included this topic, that's why I am repeating, so please note it. So now let's go to the further topic, the most important topic in the general organic chemistry, which is IUPAC nomenclature. IUPAC nomenclature. I hope you all know the IUPAC nomenclature, which is also learnt in the 10th class of the state board, which is clearly learned in the basic IUPAC nomenclature was given in the state boards or in the central boards as well. So the IUPAC nomenclature indicates the naming of the organic compounds, which is used in the broad way to name the organic compounds. For suppose we are discussing about this structure C3H6. So if I ask what is the name of this compound, then you will have to name that compound first. If I ask to name that compound, then which system you will have to use? That is IUPAC nomenclature. Nomenclature is naming. So C3H6 is named by the organic compound in the IUPAC nomenclature. For suppose if I have CH3, CH2, CH3. So if I have to name this compound, I should use the IUPAC nomenclature rules. There are some list of rules which we have to conformly, we should control them, which we should use them. You should follow the rules of that IUPAC system to name this compound. Okay, I will discuss this IUPAC nomenclature in 2 lectures. This is the first lecture, and the next session will be purely only for IUPAC nomenclature. In the next session, we are going to try lots of problems. For that, we have to know the basic rules and the manners how to name a particular organic compound. So I gave an example here. I didn't give the name of this compound. I hope you all know the name of this, because this is the basic structure of carbon compounds. But IUPAC full form is International Union of Pure and Applied Chemists. International Union of Pure and Applied Chemists. So IUPAC indicates that. But IUPAC is a group of chemists, experts, where they gave the rules how to name organic compounds, to each and every organic compound. If we want to name, then we have to use the IUPAC nomenclature. So keep the subheading as the IUPAC nomenclature of organic compounds. Then we will write some rules to name the organic compounds. Then we will apply those rules in the basic examples, and then we go to the complex structures. And in the next discussions, we will be discussing the rules. There are some rules like longest chain rule, and lowest locant rule, and priority order for functional groups. So in the next discussion, we will be discussing about the functional group, the basic definition of the functional group, and some examples of the functional groups. So what are the main role of the functional group in the organic compounds? So how many types of functional groups are there? What are they? With examples. Okay, priority order of those functional groups will be discussed successively, and then finally we discuss about the whole concept of the rules will be applied on one compound, and then the name of the compound will be output. So I hope you understood the rules. We will discuss in the next discussions further briefly. First we have to discuss long chain rule. What is long chain rule? Some examples of long chain rule, lowest locant rule, some examples of lowest locant rule, along with a brief discussion, and where in the which situations we have to apply lowest locant rule. And the next rule is alphabetical order. Alphabetical order also comes under this rules of IUPAC naming compounds. So next we will go to the priority order and alphabetical order, where we have to use the lowest locant rule, where we have to use alphabetical order. So if we use alphabetical order by breaking the rule of lowest locant rule, is that correct? Or if we use lowest locant rule by breaking the concept of alphabetical order, is that correct? Which is correct, which is not correct? In which situations that may applicable? We have to discuss all the things regarding these rules, and then we will be able to solve the problems of naming organic compounds from basic structures to the remaining complex structures like many compounds we will take as the examples and we will solve one by one. And there is some common names. There are some common names for those compounds where we will be discussing about the IUPAC nomenclature. Along with the IUPAC nomenclature, we will be discussing the common names of those compounds too. So where we will be using common names and where we will be using IUPAC names, that is also discussed. So this session gives you the total clarity of the rules of organic chemistry in just 1 hour. So please make sure you have a pure concentration while listening these rules. So get ready for the rules. So now, in order to go to the rules of the IUPAC nomenclature, let's discuss the basic structure, how the organic compounds is named. So the structure of the naming is prefix plus root word plus suffix. So suffix may be 1 or 2. So prefix also may be 1 or 2. So here we got 3 new terms which are prefix and root word and suffix. So firstly, let's discuss about the root word. Root word. What is root word? Root word is the word which indicates the number of carbons present in the chain of organic compound. So if we take, for example, if we take this as an example, the same example. So here there are 3 carbons. These 3 carbon number is expressed by the root word in this structure of naming. So 3 is first I will give you the list. The 1 carbon is indicated with meth as a root word. 2 carbon indicates eth. 3 carbon indicates prop. 4 carbon indicates but. 5 carbon indicates pent. 6 carbon indicates hex. 7 carbon indicates hept or sept in some cases, but mostly hept will be used as the root word. 8 carbons indicates oct and 9 carbon indicates non. 10 carbon indicates dec. 11 carbon indicates undec. 12 carbon indicates dodec. 13 carbon indicates tridec. 14 carbon indicates tetradec. So likewise, the number of carbon increases, root word also increases. So here 1 carbon will be expressed by meth, word root meth. Root word can be also called as word root in some cases. As you wish, you have to call, that will be considerable. So here I gave you the list. If possible, take a screenshot. This will be available in the internet also. If you want more carbon compounds like 15 carbon, 20 carbon, 40 carbon, then you can Google it. So that you can get the information about these word roots in the further brief consideration. So here, these are the basic ones which we have to know. There is a importance of knowing these word roots in the naming of compounds. So note this, and then we go to the edited. That means in some cases these word roots are edited. That means in some cases, in some priority cases, these word roots are further modified word roots. So what are the modified word roots? Meth will be meth always. Eth, prop. These 3 will be also meth, eth, prop. But but will be changed to buta. Next, pent will be changed to penta according to the situations. So pent will be used if penta is more suitable than pent, then penta will be used. So hexa, hepta, octa, nona, deca. So like this, we use the modified word roots in some particular cases. So these are about word roots. Then next we will go to the prefixes. In prefixes there are two types of prefixes. First one is primary prefix. Second one is secondary prefix. First of all, what indicates prefix? Prefix indicates the functional group in some cases or substituents attached to the carbon compound. So if we take an example, CH3, CH3. So here we got, if we have to name this compound, then first we follow the longest chain rule, which is 1, 2, 3. Numbering the compounds is most important while naming the organic compounds. So in this case, this CH3 is a substituent. This CH3 is a substituent. So what indicates the substituent here? The prefix indicates the substituent. Prefix indicates substituent. What are substituents first? Substituents are the remaining compounds except the functional groups. Functional groups can also be the substituents when they are not in the numbering of longest chain. If they are present along with the carbons of a longest chain, then they are taken as suffix, then they are treated as functional groups. So if functional groups are attached to this carbon here, if OH, alcohol, substituent, this is a substituent of alcohol. If this is here like this, OH attached to the longest chain carbon, then this OH is treated as a functional group, but this OH is not treated as functional group. In order, this is treated as a substituent. So this OH here comes in the prefix space, and this OH comes in the functional group, which is suffix phase. Later we will discuss about the suffix, but firstly the prefixes are primary and secondary, where the prefix indicates the substituent attached to the root word. So please note it, and then we will continue to the suffix. So in the previous discussion we completed about root word discussion, and then we went into prefix. So I said prefixes are two types: primary prefix, secondary prefix. So primary prefix indicates nature of the compound. How it indicates the nature of compound? So it indicates the nature of compound by names called cyclo, bicyclo, spiro. If we are naming a cyclic compound, then writing a cyclo as the primary suffix, a primary prefix, is the most important here. If we did not write cyclo in front of the root word as primary prefix, then the whole name will be treated as a wrong name. So cyclo, bicyclo, tricyclo and the spiro, like this exam etc. are treated as the primary prefix, that indicates the primary prefix here. So what did the secondary prefix indicate? The secondary prefix indicates the substitutes attached to the carbon chain, or the longest chain carbons. The substitute attached to the longest chain carbons are treated as secondary prefixes. If a methyl group is attached to the longest carbon chain, then the position will be indicated, and then the substitute methyl will be written as secondary prefix, and then root word will be followed, root word. So number, and then the substitute group, and then root word. So this is the basic structure how to follow. The first 1 degree prefix, then 2 degree prefix, then root word. Till our discussion, then this is the order followed by the prefix and the root word. Then now let's discuss about the suffixes. Mainly, suffixes are also two types. Suffixes are also two types. Suffixes. They are 1 degree suffix, 2 degree suffix. So primary suffix and secondary suffix. What did the primary suffix indicates? Primary suffix indicates the saturation or unsaturation. Saturation or unsaturation. In the previous introduction of this session, we discussed about what is saturation and what is unsaturation of the carbon compounds. I said that saturation indicates the only single bonds are introduced in the carbon chain. So unsaturation indicates the double bonds or triple bonds introduced in the carbon chain. So the primary suffix mostly indicates the saturation and unsaturation of the carbon chain. And then the secondary suffix indicates what? The functional group which is attached to the carbon chain. The functional group. The functional group here. So how the secondary suffix indicates the functional group? Mainly, I said I will discuss the functional groups in the next discussions. The functional groups are the OH, carboxylic acids, COOH, and many more functional groups are there. Then that functional groups will be indicated by the secondary suffix, that to be noted. So we will discuss in the next discussions briefly about the secondary suffix. So let's continue the secondary suffix. What indicates the secondary suffix? Secondary suffix indicates the functional groups. The functional group is indicated by the secondary suffix in the main structure of naming organic compounds. So these rules are more important than the whole GOC, because so many people will be fearing about the organic chemistry, the main organic chemistry, because their general organic chemistry concepts are not clear. They generally organic chemistry compounds are not perfect. They are not perfect in general organic chemistry. So that's why the inner fear will be remained along with the second year concepts also. So the maintaining proper revision about this general organic chemistry is the most important thing if you have to learn the whole organic chemistry. The general organic chemistry is like alphabets for the whole organic chemistry. We are learning alphabets now. We should not enter the words directly without learning alphabets. So that's why we are learning these concepts more clearly and more briefly. If it took also more time than the whole organic chemistry, it is also not correct, because alphabets must be learned in a simple manner, and then we have to use those alphabets to frame the new words. So that's way, in that way also, these alphabets like the IUPAC nomenclature will be useful to frame more new compounds in the organic chemistry everyday life. So these general organic chemistry concepts are most important concepts. That's why we have to revise the notes daily. Without the irregularity, because if we are irregular in revising the organic chemistry topics, then you will not be able to do all the organic chemistry compound problems if we are not perfect in the alphabets like these suffixes, prefixes, and much more in the general organic chemistry. General organic chemistry contains of classification of carbon specialities, and IUPAC naming and functional groups. Only these four topics are considered into general organic chemistry, isomerism, and so much are there. So that's why we have to continue the general organic chemistry till we are perfect in the organic chemistry concepts. So that's why the series of this organic chemistry will help you to strengthen your concepts regarding organic chemistry. We discuss lots of problems in the upcoming sessions. So the upcoming sessions are going to be more amazing than these conceptual sessions, because we are doing each and every problem there. for 1.5 hours we are doing only continuously problems, types of problems, repeated problems, so that your brain understands the difference between naming of different structures of different compounds. So that's why we are going to continue this series for the whole completion, so that you can get the whole organic, general organic compound concepts in one playlist. So the different playlists will be available in our channel. So hope you will see them. So let's continue the secondary suffix here. Secondary suffix indicates the functional groups. So there are different number of suffixes. Alcohols, carboxylic acids, aldehydes, ketones. Then there are ketones and ethers, esters. There are so many number of functional groups. So first of all, what is a functional group? So functional group is the compound which indicates the nature of the whole compound. So if one functional group is present in a compound, for example, if we take methanol CH3OH, its formula is CH3OH. OH is the functional group in that compound. So OH is the main formula which indicates the nature of the methanol. So we framed the methanol by methyl group plus alcohol group, methane plus alcohol. CH3OH is framed by the combination of a functional group and a structure, an alkane, methanol. So ol indicates the nature of the compound there. Ol indicates the nature of the compound, which is alcohol. So if in place of ol there is al, then it is completely different. The CH3 methyl group will be common, but if the functional group of the compound is changed, then the whole nature of the compound is changed. If CH3OH is changed to CH3Al, methanol to methanal, then that is aldehyde. CHO group, CH4 functional group is present instead of OH. Then if we observe in common, then OH indicates the nature of the CH3OH, then CHO indicates the nature of the CH3CHO, then the whole nature of the compound is dependent on the structures of the functional groups. So that's why the functional groups are the most important topics here. Okay. So let's see the different functional groups in the next session. But for now, let's go to the different rules of naming organic compounds. The first one is longest chain rule. So in every compound we have to use the longest chain rule. We have to select the longest carbon chain, and then we have to number the carbons according to the priority order which is given in the next sessions, and then we will be numbering those carbons, and then we follow alphabetical order, and when we follow lowest locant rule, all the compounds and all the rules will be discussed in the next session. Until then, stay tuned and have a nice day.